Flowers for Algernon. Written by Daniel Keyes. Narrated by Miguel Nieves. Progress Report 1, March 5th, 1965. Mr. Strauss says I should write down what I think and everything that happens to me from now on. I don't know why, but he says it's important, so they will see if they will use me. I hope they use me. Miss Kinnian says maybe they can make me smart. I want to be smart. My name is Charlie Gordon. I am 37 years old, and 2 weeks ago was my birthday. I have nothing more to write now, so I will close for today. Progress Report 2, March 6th. I had a test today. I think I failed it, and I think that maybe they won't use me. What happened is, a nice young man was in the room, and he had some white cards with ink spilled all over them. He said, "Charlie, what do you see on this card?" I was very scared, even though I had my rabbit's foot in my pocket, because when I was a kid, I always failed tests in school, and I spilled ink too. I told him I saw an ink blot. He said, "Yes," and it made me feel good. I thought that was it, but when I got up to go, he stopped me. He said, "Now sit down, Charlie, we aren't through yet." Then, I don't remember so good, but he wanted me to say what was in the ink. I didn't see nothing in the ink, but he said there was pictures. Other people saw some pictures. I couldn't see any pictures. I really tried to see. I held the card close up and then far away. Then I said, if I had my glasses, I could see better. I usually only wear my glasses in the movies or TV. But I said they are in the closet in the hall. I got them. Then I said, let me see that card again. I'll bet I'll find it now. I tried hard, but I still couldn't find the pictures. I only saw the ink. I told him maybe I need new glasses. He wrote something down on a paper, and I got scared of failing the test. I told him it was a very nice ink blot with little points all around the edges. He looked very sad, so that wasn't it. I said, please let me try again. I'll get it in a few minutes, because I'm not so fast sometimes. I'm a slow reader too, and Miss Kinnian's class for slow adults, but I'm trying very hard. He gave me a chance with another card that had 2 kinds of ink spilled on it, red and blue. He was very nice and talked slow like Miss Kinnian does, and he explained it to me that it was a Rorschach. He said, people see things in the ink. I said, show me where. He said, think. I told him, I think an ink blot, but that wasn't right either. He said, what does it remind you? Pretend something. I closed my eyes for a long time to pretend. I told him I pretend a fountain pen with ink leaked all over a tablecloth. Then he got up and went out. I don't think I passed the Rorschach test. Progress Report 3, March 7th. Dr. Strauss and Dr. Niemer say it don't matter about the ink blots. I told them I didn't spill the ink on the cards, and I couldn't see anything in the ink. They said that maybe they will still use me. I said, Miss Kinnian never gave me tests like that one, only spelling and reading. They said Miss Kinnian told that I was her bestest pupil in the adult night school because I tried the hardest and I really wanted to learn. They said, how come you went to the adult night school all by yourself, Charlie? How did you find it? I said, I asked people and somebody told me where I should go to learn how to read and spell good. They said, why did you want to? I told them, because all my life I wanted to be smart and not dumb. But it's very hard to be smart. They said, you know it will probably be temporary. I said, yes. Miss Kinnian told me. I don't care if it hurts. Later, I had more crazy tests today. The nice lady who gave it to me told me the name, and I asked her how to spell it, so I can write it in my progress report. Thematic Apperception Test. I don't know the first 2 words, but I know what test means. You gotta pass it, or you get bad marks. This test looked easy because I could see the pictures. Only this time she didn't want me to tell her what was in the pictures. That mixed me up. I said, the man yesterday said I should tell him what I saw in the ink, and she said that don't make no difference. She said make up stories about the people in the pictures. I told her, how can you tell stories about people you never met? I said, why should I make up lies? I never tell lies anymore because I always get caught. She told me this test and the other one, the Rorschach, was for getting personality. I laughed so hard. I said, "How can you get a thing like that from ink blots and photos?" She got sore and put her pictures away. I don't care. It was silly. I guess I failed that test too. Later, some men in white coats took me to a different part of the hospital and gave me a game to play. It was like a race with a white mouse. They called the mouse Algernon. Algernon was in a box with a lot of twists and turns, like all kinds of walls, and they gave me a pencil and a paper with lines and lots of boxes. On one side it said start, and on the other end it said finish. They said it was an amazed, and that Algernon and me had the same amazed to do. I didn't see how we could have the same amazed if Algernon had a box and I had paper, but I didn't say nothing. Anyway, there wasn't time because the race started. One of the men had a watch he was trying to hide so I wouldn't see it, so I tried not to look, and that made me nervous. Anyway, the test made me feel worser than all the others because they did it over 10 times with different amazeds, and Algernon won every time. I didn't know that mice were so smart. Maybe that's because Algernon is a white mouse. Maybe white mice are smarter than other mice. Progress Report 4, March 8th. They're going to use me! I'm so excited I can hardly write. Dr. Niemer and Dr. Strauss had an argument about it first. Dr. Niemer was in the office when Dr. Strauss brought me in. Dr. Niemer was worried about using me, but Dr. Strauss told him Miss Kinnian recommended me best from all the people who she was teaching. I like Miss Kinnian because she's a very smart teacher. And she said, "Charlie, you're going to have a second chance. If you volunteer for this experiment, you might get smart. They don't know if it will be permanent, but there's a chance." That's why I said okay, even when I was scared, because she said it was an operation. She said, "Don't be scared, Charlie. You've done so much with so little. You deserve it most of all." So I got scared when Dr. Niemer and Dr. Strauss argued about it. Dr. Strauss said I had something that was very good. He said I had a good motivation. I never knew that I had that. I felt proud when he said that not everybody with an IQ of 68 had that thing. I don't know what it is or where I got it, but he said Algernon had it too. Algernon's motivation is the cheese they put in his box. But it can't be that because I didn't eat any cheese this week. Then he told Dr. Niemer something I didn't understand, so while they were talking, I wrote down some of the words. He said, "Dr. Niemer, I know Charlie isn't what you had in mind as the first of your new breed of intellect," couldn't get the word, Superman. "But most people of his low ment are host and uncouth. They are usually dull, apath, and hard to reach. He has a good nature, and he's interested and eager to please." Dr. Niemer said, "Remember, he will be the first human being to ever have his intelligence tripled by surgical means." Dr. Strauss said, "Exactly. Look at how well he's learned to read and write for his low mental age. It's as great an achievement as you and I learning Einstein's theory of relativity without help. That shows the intense motivation. It's comparate a tremend achieve. I say we use Charlie." I didn't get all the words, and they were talking too fast, but it sounded like Dr. Strauss was on my side, and the other one wasn't. Then Dr. Niemer nodded. He said, "All right, maybe you're right. We will use Charlie." When he said that, I got so excited, I jumped up and shook his hand for being so good to me. I told him, "Thank you, Doc. You won't be sorry for giving me a second chance." And I mean it like I told him. After the operation, I'm going to try to be smart. I'm going to try awful hard. Progress Report 5, March 10th. I'm scared. Lots of people who work here and the nurses and the people who gave me the tests came to bring me candy and wish me luck. I hope I have luck. I got my rabbit's foot and my lucky penny and my horseshoe. Only a black cat crossed me when I was coming to the hospital. Dr. Strauss says, "Don't be superstitious, Charlie. This is science." Anyway, I'm keeping my rabbit's foot with me. I asked Dr. Strauss if I'll beat Algernon in the race after the operation, and he said, maybe. If the operation works, I'll show that mouse I can be as smart as he is, maybe smarter. And then I'll be able to read better and spell the words good and know lots of things and be like other people. I want to be smart like other people. If it works permanent, they will make everybody smart all over the world. They didn't give me anything to eat this morning. I don't know what that eating has to do with getting smart. I'm very hungry, and Dr. Niemer took away my box of candy. That Dr. Niemer is such a grouch. Dr. Strauss says I can have it back after the operation. You can't eat before an operation. Progress Report 6, March 15th. The operation didn't hurt. He did it while I was sleeping. They took off the bandages from my eyes and my head today so I can make a progress report. Dr. Niemer, who looked at some of my other ones, says I spelled progress wrong, and he told me how to spell it, and report too. I got to try and remember that. I have a very bad memory for spelling. Dr. Strauss says it's okay to tell about all the things that happened to me, but he says I should tell more about what I feel and what I think. When I told him I don't know how to think, he said, try. All the time when the bandages were on my eyes, I tried to think. Nothing happened. I don't know what to think about. Maybe if I ask him, he will tell me how to think now that I'm supposed to get smart. What do smart people think about? Fancy things, I suppose. I wish I knew some fancy things already. Progress Report 7, March 19th. Nothing is happening. I had lots of tests and different kinds of races with Algernon. I hate that mouse. He always beats me. Dr. Strauss said I got to play those games, and he said sometime I got to take those tests over again. Those ink blots are stupid, and those pictures are stupid too. I like to draw a picture of a man and a woman, but I won't make up lies about people. I got a headache from trying to think so much. I thought Dr. Strauss was my friend, but he don't help me. He don't tell me what to think or when I'll get smart. Miss Kinnian didn't come to see me. I think writing these progress reports are stupid too. Progress Report 8, March 23rd. I'm going back to work at the factory. They said it was better I should go back to work, but I can't tell anyone what the operation was for, and I have to come to the hospital for an hour every night after work. They are going to pay me money every month for learning to be smart. I'm glad I'm going back to work because I miss my job and all my friends and all the fun we have there. Dr. Strauss says I should keep writing things down, but I don't have to do it every day, just when I think of something, or something special happens. He says, don't get discouraged because it takes time and it happens slow. He says, it took a long time with Algernon before he got 3 times smarter than when he was before. That's why Algernon beats me all the time, because he had that operation too. That makes me feel better. I could probably do that amazed faster than a regular mouse. Maybe someday I'll beat Algernon. Boy, that would be something. So far, Algernon looks like he might be smart permanent. March 25th. I don't have to write progress report on top anymore, just when I hand it in once a week for Dr. Niemer to read. I just have to put the date on. That saves time. We had a lot of fun at the factory today. Joe Carp said, "Hey, look where Charlie had his operation. What did they do, Charlie? Put some brains in?" I was going to tell him, but I remembered Dr. Strauss said no. Then Frank Riley said, "What did you do, Charlie? Forget your key and open the door the hard way?" That made me laugh. They're really my friends, and they like me. Sometimes somebody will say, "Hey, look at Joe or Frank or George. He really pulled a Charlie Gordon." I don't know why they say that, but they always laugh. This morning, Amos Borg, who was the foreman at Donegan's, used my name when he shouted at Ernie, the office boy. Ernie lost a package. He said, "Ernie, for God's sake, are you trying to be a Charlie Gordon?" I don't understand why he said that. I never lost any packages. March 28th. Dr. Strauss came to my room tonight to see why I didn't come in like I was supposed to. I told him I don't like to race with Algernon anymore. He said I don't have to do that for a while, but I should come in. He had a present for me, only it wasn't a present, but just for Lend. I thought it was a little television, but it wasn't. He said I gotta turn it on when I go to sleep. I said, "You're kidding. Why should I turn it on when I'm going to sleep? Whoever heard of a thing like that?" But he said if I want to get smart, I gotta do what he says. I told him I didn't think I was going to get smart, and he put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Charlie, you don't know it yet, but you're getting smarter all the time. You won't notice for a while." I think he was just being nice to make me feel good, because I don't look any smarter. Oh yes, I almost forgot. I asked him when I can go back to class at Miss Kinnian's school. He said I won't go there. He said that soon Miss Kinnian will come to the hospital to start and teach me special. I was mad at her for not coming to see me when I got the operation, but I like her, so maybe we'll be friends again. March 29th. That crazy TV kept me up all night. How can I sleep with something yelling crazy things all night in my ears? And the nutty pictures. Wow. I don't know what it says when I'm up, so how am I going to know when I'm sleeping? Dr. Strauss says it's okay. He says my brains are learning when I sleep, and that will help me when Miss Kinnian starts my lessons in the hospital. Only, I found out it wasn't a hospital, it's a laboratory. I think it's all crazy. If you can get smart when you're sleeping, why do people go to school? That thing I don't think will work. I used to watch The Late Show and The Late Late Show on TV all the time, and it never made me smart. Maybe you have to sleep while you watch it. Progress Report 9, April 3rd. Dr. Strauss showed me how to keep the TV turned low so I can sleep. I don't hear a thing. I still don't understand what it says. A few times I play it over in the morning to find out what I learned when I was sleeping, and I don't think so. Miss Kinnian says maybe it's another language or something, but sometimes it sounds American. It talks so fast, faster than even Miss Gold, who was my teacher in 6th grade, and I remember she talked so fast I couldn't understand her. I told Dr. Strauss, what good is it to get smart in my sleep? I want to be smart when I'm awake. He says it's the same thing, and I have two minds. There's the subconscious and the conscious. That's how you spell it. And one don't tell the other one what it's doing. They don't even talk to each other. That's why I dream. And boy, I've been having some crazy dreams. Wow. Ever since that night TV. The late show. I forgot to ask him if it was only me or if everybody had those two minds. I just looked up the word in the dictionary Dr. Strauss gave me. The word is subconscious, adjective, of the nature of mental operations yet not present in consciousness, as subconscious conflict of desires. There's more, but I still don't know what it means. This isn't a very good dictionary for dumb people like me. Anyway, the headache is from the party. My friends from the factory, Joe Carp and Frank Riley, invited me to go with them to Muggsy's saloon for some drinks. I don't like to drink, but they said we will have lots of fun. I had a good time. Joe Carp said I should show the girls how I mop out the toilet in the factory, and he got me a mop. I showed them, and everyone laughed when I told them that Mr. Donegan said I was the bestest janitor he ever had because I like my job and do it good and never come late or miss a day except for my operation. I said, Miss Kinnian always said, "Charlie, be proud of your job because you do it good." Everybody laughed, and we had a good time, and they gave me lots of drinks, and Joe said, "Charlie is a card when he's potted." I don't know what that means, but everyone likes me, and we have fun. I can't wait to be smart like my best friends, Joe Carp and Frank Riley. I don't remember how the party was over, but I think I went out to buy a newspaper and coffee for Joe and Frank, and when I came back, there was no one there. I looked for them all over till late. Then I don't remember so good, but I think I got sleepy or sick. A nice cop brought me back home. That's what my landlady, Miss Flynn, says. But I got a headache and a big lump on my head and black and blue all over. I think maybe I fell, but Joe Carp says it was the cop. They beat up drunk sometimes. I don't think so. Miss Kinnian says cops are here to help people. Anyway, I got a bad headache and I'm sick and hurt all over. I don't think I'll drink anymore. April 6th. I beat Algernon. I didn't even know I beat him until Bert, the tester, told me. Then the second time I lost because I got so excited I fell off the chair before I finished. But after that I beat him 8 more times. I must be getting smart to beat a smart mouse like Algernon. But I don't feel smarter. I wanted to race Algernon some more, but Bert said that's enough for one day. They let me hold him for a minute. He's not so bad. He's soft like a ball of cotton. He blinks, and when he opens his eyes, they're black and pink on the edges. I said, can I feed him? Because I felt bad to beat him, and I wanted to be nice and make friends. Bert said no. Algernon is a very special mouse with an operation like mine, and he was the first of all animals to stay smart for so long. He told me Algernon is so smart that every day he has to solve a test to get his food. It's a thing like a lock on a door that changes every time Algernon goes in to eat, so he has to learn something new to get his food. That made me sad because if he couldn't learn, he would be hungry. I don't think it's right to make you have to pass a test to eat. How would Dr. Niemer like it to have to pass a test every time he wants to eat? I think I'll be friends with Algernon. April 9th. Tonight after work, Miss Kinnian was at the laboratory. She looked like she was glad to see me, but scared. I told her, don't worry, Miss Kinnian, I'm not smart yet, and she laughed. She said, I have confidence in you, Charlie. The way you struggled so hard to read and write better than all the others. At worst, you'll have it for a little while, and you're doing something for science. We are reading a very hard book. I never read such a hard book before. It's called Robinson Crusoe, about a man who gets marooned on a desert island. He's smart and figures out all kinds of things so he can have a house and food, and he's a good swimmer. Only, I feel sorry because he's all alone and has no friends. But I think there must be somebody else on the island because there's a picture with his funny umbrella looking at footprints. I hope he gets a friend and not be lonely. April 10th. Miss Kinnian teaches me to spell better. She says, look at a word and close your eyes and say it over and over until you remember. I have lots of trouble with through. That you say through and enough and tough. That you don't say enu and to. You gotta say enough and tough. That's how I used to write it before I started to get smart. I'm confused, but Miss Kinnian says there's no reason in spelling. April 14th. Finished Robinson Crusoe. I want to find out more about what happened to him, but Miss Kinnian says that's all there is. Why? April 15th. Miss Kinnian says I'm learning fast. She read some of the progress reports and she looked at me kind of funny. She says I'm a fine person and I'll show them all. I asked her why. She said, never mind, but I shouldn't feel bad if I find out that everybody isn't nice like I think. She said, for a person who God gave so little to, you've done more than a lot of people with brains they never even used. I said, all my friends are smart people, but they're good. They like me, and they never did anything that wasn't nice. Then she got something in her eye, and she had to run out to the ladies' room. April 16th. Today I learned the comma. This is a comma, a period with a tail. Miss Kinnian says it's important because it makes writing better. She said, somebody could lose a lot of money if a comma isn't in the right place. I don't have any money, and I don't see how a comma keeps you from losing it. But she says, everybody uses commas, so I'll use them too. April 17th. I used the comma wrong. It's punctuation. Miss Kinnian told me to look up long words in the dictionary to learn how to spell them. I said, "What's the difference if you can read 'em anyway?" She said it's part of your education, so now on I'll look up all the words I'm not sure how to spell. It takes a long time to write that way, but I think I'm remembering. I only have to look up once, and after that I get it right. Anyway, that's how come I got the word punctuation right. It's that way in the dictionary. Miss Kinnian says a period is punctuation too, and there are lots of other marks to learn. I told her I thought all periods had to have tails, but she said no. You gotta mix 'em up. She showed me how to mix 'em up, and now I can mix up all kinds of punctuation in my writing. There are lots of rules to learn, but I'm getting them in my head. One thing I like about dear Miss Kinnian, that's the way it goes in a business letter if I ever go into business, is she always gives me a reason when I ask. She's a genius. I wish I could be smart like her. Punctuation is fun. April 18th. What a dope I am. I didn't even understand what she was talking about. I read the grammar book last night, and it explains the whole thing. Then I saw it was the same way as Miss Kinnian was trying to tell me, but I didn't get it. I got up in the middle of the night, and the whole thing straightened out in my mind. Miss Kinnian said that the TV working in my sleep helped out. She said I reached a plateau. That's like that flat top of a hill. After I figured out the punctuation, I read over all my old progress reports from the beginning. Boy, did I have crazy spelling and punctuation. I told Miss Kinnian I ought to go over the pages and fix all the mistakes, but she said, "No, Charlie. Dr. Niemer wants them just the way they are. That's why he let you keep them after they were photostated. To see your own progress. You're coming along fast, Charlie." That made me feel good. After the lesson, I went down and played with Algernon. We don't race anymore. April 20th. I feel sick inside. Not sick like for a doctor, but inside my chest it feels empty, like getting punched and a heartburn at the same time. I wasn't going to write about it, but I guess I got to, because it's important. Today was the first time I ever stayed home from work. Last night, Joe Carp and Frank Riley invited me to a party. There were lots of girls and some men from the factory. I remembered how sick I got last time I drank too much, so I told Joe I didn't want anything to drink. He gave me a plain Coke instead. It tasted funny, but I thought it was just a bad taste in my mouth. We had a lot of fun for a while. Joe said I should dance with Ellen, and she would teach me the steps. I fell a few times, and I couldn't understand why, because no one else was dancing beside Ellen and me. And all the time I was tripping because somebody's foot was always kicking out. Then when I got up, I saw the look on Joe's face, and it gave me a funny feeling in my stomach. "He's a scream," one of the girls said. Everybody was laughing. Frank said, "I ain't laughed so much since I sent him off for the newspaper last night at Muggsy's and ditched him. Look at him. His face is red. He's blushing. Charlie is blushing. Hey, Ellen, what'd you do to Charlie? I never saw him act like that before." I didn't know what to do or where to turn. Everyone was looking at me and laughing, and I felt naked. I wanted to hide myself. I ran out into the street and threw up. Then I walked home. It's a funny thing I never knew that Joe and Frank and the others liked to have me around all the time to make fun of me. Now I know what it means when they say to pull a Charlie Gordon. I'm ashamed. Progress Report 11. April 21st. Still didn't go into the factory. I told Miss Flynn, my landlady, to call and tell Mr. Donegan I was sick. Miss Flynn looks at me very funny lately, like she's scared of me. I think it's a good thing about finding out how everybody laughs at me. I thought about it a lot. It's because I'm so dumb, and I don't even know when I'm doing something dumb. People think it's funny when a dumb person can't do things the same way they can. Anyway, now I know I'm getting smarter every day. I know punctuation and can spell good. I like to look up all the hard words in the dictionary and remember them. I'm reading a lot now, and Miss Kinnian says I read very fast. Sometimes I even understand what I'm reading about, and it stays in my mind. There are times when I can close my eyes and think of a page, and it all